Hello everyone, today we are here to read Star Wars Adventures. I know what you're thinking, this is a Star Wars book by the company Lucas Books, but this is not one of those Star Wars books. This is an original book, written by me. Now enough about the story, here it is. So Chapter 1, Order 66. Once upon a time in the Clone Wars, there was a Jedi that went by the name of Master One, and his Jedi clone companion that went by the name of Surge. And they fought the battle side by side, and in this particular battle, they fight with each other, and the reason is Order 66. Order 66 has already spread to all the other clones, but since he was strong in the Force, it had got him last. They were on Kashyyyk, and they fought, and even got in a Wookiee glider, and oops, they crashed it. Die, they said to each other. And when they were fighting on a single battle droid glider thingy, and were about to cut off each other's limbs, they said, "This is not the Jedi way." And both said, "I know." It ended up that the clones won, and it was the end of the Clone Wars. But the war was still going on in the depths of the bottomless pits, with the terrible Wi-Fi. They were still fighting, and lots was going on down there. But that's another story. Well, they, Master One and Surge, went and had peace with each other for many years. Like they played cards, they played mini-golf, they played tennis, they played poker, they went to bars, like the famous Mos Eisley Cantina. They explored the Hutt's main land, and they had lots of fun for years. Until Chapter 2, Jedi Battle. Now, this chapter will take place before Chapter 1, and it will also take place during the Battle of Geonosis, if you have seen Star Wars Episode 2. You have seen the Jedi battle, when that Jedi Mace Windu kills Jango Fett. Here is the story. At the time of the Jedi battle, Surge and Master One were fighting in the Jedi battle, and they were fighting alongside, like usual. And they were stabbing the Geonosians by the Dickens, and and getting a bunch of guns. And the way that they went undercover is by Master One shapeshifts into a Geonosian. Yeah, I said it. Master One is a changeling or shapeshifter. Now back to the battle. They shot and swung their guns and lightsabers, and it came to the part where Mace Windu kills Jango Fett. And when that happened, all the Jedi plus Jedi clones said, "Ha-hoo-goo, Mace," but it didn't end. There, you know, when Count Dooku runs away. Well, Master One and Surge almost stopped him, but he only broke his wrist and got away. Master One and Surge still got onto a generation's personal fighter, and took control of it. They shot a few torpedoes and crashed a few other fighters, and eventually got onto a Republic Star Destroyer and flew. Chapter 3, on the Death Star. Don't think my story only takes place in the Clone Wars. It takes place on the time, heck. No, I lost it. Gotta scroll real quick, hold up. Don't think my story only takes place in the Clone Wars. It takes place in the time of Darth Vader, too. In this story, you see what Master One, aka Sith One, and what Surge do, that is, during that time. Sith One's jobs are Stormtrooper, Imperial Pilot, Imperial Guard, Imperial Officer, and Sith Lord. Darth Vader walked out of his ship, and all the workers and the Stormtroopers were lined up, and Darth Vader asked Sith One, Do you know where the Rebel Alliance is? Sith One said, yes. Do you know where the rebels are? He said, choking Sith One with his arm. No, Sith One said with a sigh at the end of his sentence. 2 hours later, the Death Star got boarded by a rebel ship. First, Sith One and Darth Vader sensed as well as heard it through. Then the stormtroopers rushed into the main hangar to stop the invasion, but it spread to the engineering room. Leading the rebel brigade was Surge, spelled without an E, who is now a Jedi. He made it to Sith One, who was guarding Darth Vader. Okay, yep. He and Surge fought until they got into the main hangar. Then they got into their vehicles. Surge got into his starfighter, and Sith One got into his TIE interceptor. And they fought, and they got all the way to Naboo, where Sith One became a Jedi again. just like at the end of Star Wars Episode 6, where Darth Vader turns good. Chapter 4, Dagobah. Now they got off Naboo, and they went to a very force-filled planet called Dagobah. There they find a passageway to a place where they see the living force. The living force person said, "We can show you the truth." Then please tell us, Master One, and Surge said. "If you are worthy," the living force person said. "How can I know you mean we. I mean, we can train to get the worthy level. You must journey to Tatooine and find the sinking sandcrawler and save Master Jawa. He is my cousin," said Master One. "And do what he tells you to do," said the living force person. "Except for you, Master One. You must stay and go to the depths of the ocean of this planet. That is how you will get trained," said the living force person. Surge went to his Jedi starfighter, and Master One stood there and waved. Then the living force person picked him up and put him on a cliff, and then pushed him off. He almost drowned. Meanwhile, on Tatooine, Surge was searching for the sinking sandcrawler. He almost got exploded, because a Tusken Raider got a hold on a thermal detonator. Luckily, he found the sandcrawler. Meanwhile, in the depths of the mist ocean of Dagobah, Master One saw a big hologram of Kamino. He must go there. Chapter 5. Meanwhile, on Kamino. He went on his own personal starfighter. He docked his ship in the main hangar, and the Kaminoans? Yes. Greeted his by saying, "Welcome to Kamino. Also, what has brought you here?" "The prophecy is what my engines are almost out of fuel," Master One said. "The prophecy never lies, and for the engine, we'll put plenty of fuel in it, or even replace it to the newest type, if you help us repair our village." The rebels attacked it. "Sure thing." Then with one move of his hand, Master One used the Force and fixed it, and made it good as new. It was getting dark, and his engine was shot, so the Kaminoans offered to let him sleep in the guest room. He accepted, and it was about 11 o'clock, and he had just fallen asleep when a Kaminoan named Tama. She came into his headquarters and extracted some DNA to make clones out of him. Why? I'll get to that later. About 6:30, when he woke up, he went to the mess hall and ate about 27 servings of food. After he was done eating, he said, "My stomach still feels empty." Then, when he exited the mess hall, a Kaminoan walked out in front of him and glanced at him and walked faster. Master One followed him. They were heading to the DNA room. They told him the clones are now of his DNA. "Okay," he said. Chapter 6, Bounty Hunter Talk. Still in Kaminoa, Master One was still figuring out what just happened. A week later, when the Slave One docked in the main hangar, Boba Fett came stomping in, and yelled, "Why are the clones not from my father, Jango Fett, anymore?" "Because we ran out of Jango Fett DNA," said a Kaminoan in a soft voice. What? Why didn't you just get DNA from another clone?" he said. "Because that never came to our minds, and since the Galactic Empire went down, we can use a new person." Who and where is he?" They all looked in the center of the room and looked at Master One. He said, "They stole my DNA so Boba, don't blame me." Boba shot his gun at Master One at his head, but Master One dodged his blast. He said, "Time to go, but before you go, here is your new engine," said and tossed him the new promised engine, and ran into the main hangar and flew away in his fighter. Meanwhile, on Tatooine, it was getting dark, and the snakes come out at night. So he dug a hole and found 2,458 credits in the hole. Holy shit. And that he dug because Bosk went skydiving to get a person on a paraglider, and 2,458 credits fell out of his pocket and got covered over by sand when they fell out of his pocket. Chapter 7, Sinking Sandcrawler. It was night, and Surge had just finished his whole house. He made a bed out of bantha fur. In other words, a bantha fur bed. He slept but woke up at 6 o'clock Tatooine time. He dug upwards and when he got out, he looked right. Bosk was looking wide-eyed and still creepy. Money, give me my money, Bosk said. What are you talking about? He said, you stole my 2,458 credits, said Bosk. Surge gave the money back and continued his way there. He was walking towards a big tall pillar of light. He followed it and got to the sinking sandcrawler, but he couldn't find a way in. But when a Jawa went in the main entrance, he got in when it was still open. There was a Jawa who was actually wearing a brown cloak with a few white spots. Surge asked who he was, and he said he was a messenger. He said he was going to tell Master Jawa to say of his appearance. He already knew about it. Surge got to Master Jawa, and Jedi Master Tama said the same thing to both Surge and Master One. They said, go to Naboo and talk to the new Jedi leader of the Jedi Council, Luke Skywalker. They both traveled to Naboo and went to the Jedi Council building, and they tried to find Luke, and they eventually found him. And that is the end of our lovely book, Star Wars Adventures. I hope you enjoyed, and have a nice day.